gets berated on the podcast we've created to commemorate action flicks, big horror, no tricks. John Travolta, Chuck Norris, insane clown posse, no fuss, no mercy, we discuss. Everything gets berated, no one is underrated. From the screen to the stage, except a new cage. No mercy, we engage.
Welcome to Everything Gets Berated, where we talk about everything other than indie horror and sometimes indie horror. I'm Anferny.
What is up, everybody? It is me, Brian, with a B. Where, who wants to say it? Who wants to say why we look incognito like this? So you ever heard that story, like War of the Worlds? Like the very first War of the Worlds?
I love the story behind that it was actually a radio broadcast.
Yeah, and there, for some reason, it's like, we're only going to say this once at the very beginning, so if you're late, then fuck yourself. You know? So that's basically what's going to happen here. Anthony and I are going to film a movie, and this will be playing in the background of the movie, so it can't look too much like us, you know?
Yeah.
Because then they'd be like, hey, are those guys? Or we're on the run, and we are in disguise so we don't get caught.
We could write that into another movie.
Who knows? Like, yeah, it's these two guys, like they're, what, Clark Kent.
Yeah.
You know, and whenever they put on sunglasses, people don't know who they are, you know?
Because Clark Kent wears glasses. Superman doesn't. That's the difference.
The hair curl.
And the hair curl.
Yeah. See, we're wearing bucket hats, windbreakers.
Well, you are.
You got a problem with windbreakers, bro?
I don't. I have windbreakers. I don't wear windbreakers.
Maybe that's what we're missing out on.
Maybe.
But all right. What are we EGBing up today?
This is these are the wrong prescription. All right. The Bite School 2, The Bite Squad, directed by James Balsamo, written by James Balsamo, Sophia, Cacciola, and Michael J. Epstein.
All right. What's the gist?
Also, basically, this is Tony Canoni, 10 years after Bite School, is fighting Robot Dracula, but he's trying to rid the world of vampires, so he's going after all of the heads of vampires groups across the world. And he's being filmed by a documentary crew.
There you go. I put that the gist is that Robot Dracula is out to kill people, and Tony, for some reason, people don't like him, even though he saved the world like 10 years ago, right?
I know,
and he's going to go save the day.
Yeah.
That's what Tony's going to do. All right, like anybody should do. Go to save the day, bro. That's what you got to do. All right. What are we doing?
So we start out with
pretty awesome opening. You know, I'm not going to lie. That opening, it doesn't seem too bad to be a vampire, you know?
So they're what is it? Whoever the guy trying to resurrect Robot Dracula in his true form is sacrificing a virgin. She doesn't look like virgin. No, she looks a little too eager. Our
homeboy Nelson was there.
Yeah, he was there. He told us about this scene.
We saw Nelson in that one. But yeah, so it opens up, you know, with a I'd say a pretty banging chick, man. You know?
Yeah, like she's tied up, about to be sacrificed to Robot Dracula, so he can create his body, his robot body.
Right? Like, how often do you think they do these? So I was like, can you just like contact me when you're gonna do like a sacrifice if they're banging like this? But like, don't contact me. Like, I don't want to hang out with you guys if you guys are gonna look like goth people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I like the sun, but I also like Easty Westies. So please hit me up when you're going to do a sacrifice and we can do this. You know?
But
and then,
okay, like one of my favorite parts of this, because like at first we get like this little tie-in or whatever to the first one. George and Tony run into each other, and I'm assuming they're from the first movie because we haven't watched that one.
well, yeah, it's been 10 years.
But yeah, so that's George from the first movie. But when we see Robot Dracula, he decides to give this long monologue speech, and everybody instantly starts to get tired.
That was pretty amazing.
And then
he
6
did talk
hours later.
But how come Dracula looked like, is it Krang? Who's the Ninja Turtles dude?
Yeah, that's Krang. Like, he's like the brain.
Yeah. You know? So he looks like Krang, which is pretty amazing. Gotta love that.
Yeah. No, by the way, Robot Dracula is played by, in this movie, Joe Castro.
All right. I just remember
he did some special effects stuff, and you know, like he's done a lot of behind the scenes stuff as well.
I remember that they go into that dude's house, and the dude spits on his own floor. Remember?
Oh yeah,
they go into the house to talk to that guy, and then it must have been like a super moon or something because he spits on his floor. Maybe that's called karma. Maybe karma.
Yeah.
Because he spits on the floor and then he looks at the moon. He looks at the moon and then freaking turns into a freaking werewolf.
Oh yeah, which
dude,
they pull off a pretty decent special effect thing there, where his normal hand is up, and then he lowers his hand, and then the werewolf hand is there.
Dun dun dun.
It was kind of cool.
It was awesome. And then there was the great montage of the magician just killing everyone. You're just like, damn, man. You know, Houdini. There was
didn't he have like a catchphrase or something? I forget what it was. It was
I don't remember.
I don't remember the catchphrase, but I know I was laughing really hard.
I saw that James was just throwing out so many one-liners in this movie, dude. It was hilarious. And I have them somewhere in my notes, you know. But I just remember there was a great montage of the magician killing everybody. And there was one where the guy punches through the skull and his face. You're just like, good God, what the hell happens? You know?
Oh, yeah. I think that was the final kill. Where George decides to confront the head of these are like troll vampires.
Yeah, too bad.
And he distracts him with a dance. And he's overtaken with emotion, and that's when Tony punches through his face.
I remember that poor knight, though. He gets bit by that ugly ass dead animal. Like, what the fuck was that a bat? It was like a bat horse.
Oh yeah, so that's the what is it? The flashback to how Robot Dracula became Robot Dracula.
It's still pretty. Kind of reminded a little bit
Dracula.
A little bit of what do you call it? Oh my God. The fucking dude, I can't remember the name of the movie now. He chops hand off, gets us all put on his hand.
Oh, Evil Dead?
Yes, Evil Dead. What the hell? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Tony or James is going around. He's trying to figure out how to, fix this stuff, right? And so he comes up to the horse crooks, the horse.
Oh yeah. So he's at the Bite Squad, and I want to say because they have the two scientists, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I was listening to that voice when I watched the second time. The guy, that's Tom Servo from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Really?
I when I heard it, I was like, I could swear that's Tom Servo. Yeah, that's one of the original Mystery Science Theater guys. Um, but like he gets a. We talked about the cross knife. This is the torch cross stake.
Yeah, but it's something like, it's like horse crux, horse crew.
Yeah, it's like a horse crux or something like that.
Yeah, and then James comes in there and he's like, "What's up?" Did he say
Nerds.
He said dweebs.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. Dweebs, dude. I love that word. Dweebs and geek,
I know.
nerd. Those are such
Haven't heard
great
that one in a while.
Yeah. And that's when he comes in and James does so many one-liners when he gets the cross. I can't remember them all. But he just does some awesome one-liners. I was like, damn, I should write these down because
He throws out
we should
so
use
many
them.
one-liners in
Dude.
like they're just like that. Like he just keeps going.
So when those monster trolls came out, okay, I'm being 100% serious. When I was a little kid, I had a nightmare, and those monster trolls were in my dream. Like as a kid, I know 2 nightmares that I've had, and that's pretty much it. You know, one was we were in this house, and for some reason our house was like a circle now, right? And it was raining in our house, and those monsters came out. They like had their head lowered, and they had their arms up like this, and they were running.
Oh my God.
They were just come like this. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I need to get away from these things. And they looked exactly like those troll vampires, dude.
Damn.
So I watched that and I was like, holy shit. Like, we're in a Matrix, man. Like, there's no way that these, you know what I'm saying? Those exact things were like in my kid dream, like my nightmare when I was a little kid, man. It was really fucked up.
No, those were some creepy looking trolls, but I mean, like all the fight scenes are gory and they're also hilarious. And now
yeah, there was the only other dream that I can remember as a kid is like I had this nerd cousin and he flushed the apple core down the toilet and like flooded our toilet, you know? And so this was where we had like the unfinished, like you had your basement and then you had like the crawl space, you know? And so I was dreaming that I was in the crawl space, and for some reason our crawl space was like a fucking cave, you know, like how it like comes down to like a point. There was a point and then it came up to a point and there was a apple core in there, like stuck between those two. And this witch was on a broomstick and she came up, she's like, I didn't flush the apple core, and started punching me in the face with a boxing glove. Yeah, no idea why that was scary. But I remember I was taking a nap on my couch in the living room, and I tried to wake up and be like, Mom! But, yeah, I don't know. I was probably like 6 or 7.
That is a very odd dream.
Yeah. Yeah. But, there's
But then we get some more kind of like scenes that relate to the original Bite Squad, because Robert Mukes shows up and Linnea Quigley as the witch shows up, and then we get that still shot. Like, this is a shot of the school from Bite School 1. If none of what's happened so far makes any sense, please go back and watch the original.
Yeah, but it'll buff out.
Yeah,
you know, because then Tony starts getting his head squished.
Oh, by the big head troll guy.
Yeah, and he starts squishing his head, and he's like, "No!" And he starts losing his memories of all the banging chicks,
of all naked lady thoughts.
Yep, and then one of the naked lady thoughts was that girl showering. You know?
Oh yeah.
But then thankfully, she had that weapon in the shower instead of a shower beer like I always have. And then she stabs the monster, and then she whispers. You hear the whispering of the monster, like, "Oh, that really hurt. I'm dying now." You're like, "What the hell? That's your last words?"
I just came to say hi and take a look.
He's like, "Oh, that really hurt. Oh, I'm dying." Yeah, and then she's like, "All right, thanks for nothing." Goes back to showering. She had shit to do that day, man. That's why she didn't have shower beers.
Exactly.
She had shower weapons, right? And she's like, we got to do this
at all times,
dude. makes me start questioning myself. Like, do you need to bring a shower weapon and a shower beer
That's a
just
fair
in
thought.
case? You know, you can't bring a glass bottle in there and use your bottle as a shower weapon because you don't want shards of glass in your. You know?
Because what if the shards fall into the shower and then you're barefoot in the shower?
Yeah. See?
And you don't want to be lifting your feet with the water underneath you because you might slip.
Dude. So no glass shower beers. Follow us for more reasons, for more advice.
For more drinking tips.
Right? If you got to get it done, you know, like it's those people like, you ever brush your teeth in the shower? Don't say yes.
Once or twice, yes.
No, don't.
When I was in a rush, yeah.
No. You always have time to brush your teeth. It's 3 minutes. 3 minutes to brush your teeth.
What if you woke up late?
Then you still have 3 minutes that you can spare. It's 3 minutes.
Oh, so 3 minutes is like you're always, if you're late, then like if you're late, then you're late club. It doesn't matter how late you are at that point.
No, if you're on time, then you're late. So always give yourself enough time. It's 3 minutes. 3 minutes for good teeth and good height. Like, dude, you know how embarrassing it was? Like, I told my wife, like, I was like, dude, like, first off, everybody's trying to tell me, like, dude, it's okay. You shouldn't even have your wisdom teeth in the first place. You know, but like when my wisdom tooth like broke or chipped or something, and it's because like my cheek muscle and my whatever are covering the back half of the tooth, and the dentist's like, well, you can't get to it anyways. And I was like, you know how embarrassing that is? That, and he's like, bro, he's like, it's not embarrassing. I was like, should we just rip them out? He's like, no, do not rip out your wisdom teeth. If you don't need to take your wisdom teeth out, don't take them out. And I was like, isn't this just proof? I was like, isn't this proof that it should be taken out? And he's like, no. But it was freaking, apparently there's 3 things in my life that embarrass me. And wisdom teeth is one. The third.
Violins.
The third and the last thing that embarrasses me.
My wisdom teeth.
I lost a piece of it, but now it's back. It's stronger than ever. I'm never brushing my wisdom teeth again.
3/4 has become a hole.
Right? I once was empty, you know? And then like, oh, dude, it was so embarrassing. Like I had to like go in there and like I like hung my head in shame. Like I was taking like the whore walk and like I came home, I did like a whore shower where I just laid on the ground in the fetal position. I was like, oh my God, I had a chipped tooth. Dude, one of the worst days of my life. But
so we kind of, now we get into the documentary portion of this movie, which I know you haven't seen the Once and Future Smash, but if you watch that
together,
we need to watch that.
I thought that we did.
We haven't. No.
Oh,
I think you were gonna watch it, but you never. You didn't talk to Sophia, so. But like, because Sophia Cacciola and Michael J. Epstein are in this, and they did those movies, End Zone 2 and Once and Future Smash, with the Greasy Strangler himself.
Good old Greasy Strangler.
I know, and he's really good in that too. Like, I haven't seen a bad thing that he's in, but they do this this thing because Sophia had talked about it where she didn't want to be in the documentary, but she had to do a thing in the documentary to bridge what they were going into because of COVID. So it became a part of the movie. So she kind of does that thing in this movie as well, where she's the film student who is doing these interviews with the Bite Squad and with Reynolds, not Renfield, Reynolds. Which Michael J. Epstein plays like 4 roles in this movie, and he's hilarious.
It was pretty hilarious. But did you notice that when Tony was talking to Barbecue Billy, that he still had his tag on his shirt, like he was going to return it the next day?
Oh yeah,
he did. And then Barbecue Billy just tells him that he needs to continue killing those vampires, man. That's the only advice.
how to kill, or the ones he needs to kill. He's got to kill. I forgot his name. There's one that starts with an M from Mexico. Then he's got to kill Krampus.
Krampus
from Germany. He's a crampire.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's got to kill.
How you would beat that guy?
I know. He wants you to shit on his chest.
So fucked.
Then he's got to kill Mimula, my favorite.
Mimula.
Mimula was easily my favorite because
the French one.
I was so unprepared for that.
And then every time he hits him, it's like a funny sound.
It was perfect. It was like it meets the assignment. It's perfect. It's wonderful. And then he's got to come back and kill Robot Dracula, and this will rid the world of vampires.
Yep. I like how nobody liked Tony for some reason, and everybody just kept kicking his ass and kicked him in the dick.
Oh yeah, which I think we get our first Tom Devlin sighting.
Yep. Tom Devlin gets murdered real fast and then punched in his stomach. Like,
do you know by who though?
No.
That was Richard Brake. Who's been in a bunch of horror movies. He was the guy who was part of that experience or whatever in lore. The guy who was telling the scary stories or having them tell them.
Okay, that kind of.
He's also been in Rob Zombie movies, a bunch of them. Like he's a big horror actor.
Yeah. And then I remember there's a long advertisement to join the Bite Squad.
Yeah,
right?
This is when we get the talking head interviews about why people are in the Bite Squad right before they die in the Bite Squad.
Yeah, but I remember
a lot of these.
The gore from the Bite Squad being murdered. It was just awesome.
Oh, it was.
Right?
They're solid kills.
And then it was hilarious, man.
Which one of my favorites of the talking heads from the Bite Squad is Sword. He doesn't have a name. His name is Sword.
Was that rat guy who kept referencing round and round? Round and round. And I was like, what is the fucking song?
Sword was a guy who said he was only, or he only went by the name Sword. And somebody tried to call him like Ethan or something. He's like, that's not my name. My name is Sword. And he's the guy who runs away instead of fighting and doesn't get killed.
God damn it, Sword. That was the French mime. Every time that they fight each other, it's just the funny ass sounds.
That was easily my favorite part right there. It was Mimula.
And he's like, oh, I'm in a box now, huh? Come on.
And then you keep hearing the pong, pong, pong every time he hits the glass.
Yeah.
But whatever glass the Mimula put up was not double tempered steel or double tempered glass, because if Tony can kick straight through it.
Oh yeah, Tony can do a lot, man. I don't know why people were mad at him. He was just there to save the day, and how many people were kicking him in his ass, and I
think he's supposed to be like kind of a dick because he's really shitty to the technology nerds that give him all these cool weapons, and then he's just sort of like wants to smoke weed and eat, doesn't really want to fight vampires. He's not, I wouldn't call him the reluctant hero. He's the guy that just doesn't really want to do it.
But, sometimes you're put into these roles. You think Superman wanted to be Superman?
I don't know if you really have a choice.
You think Andre the Giant wanted to be Andre the Giant?
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Mm-hmm. In Spider-Man, what's his face? Macho Man Randy Savage.
Bonesaw.
Yeah. He became a wrestler for like 40 years to be in that movie, Spider-Man. And look how good he did.
Because Bonesaw is ready.
He's like, I'm going to step in this cage. And he's like, can I get my money? And he's like, you didn't last 3 minutes. See?
That's true.
Yeah.
He finished it early.
Then there was that one dude that was interviewing for the Bite Squad. He just talks about the monster's hot breath on his penis.
Oh, that guy.
What the hell is wrong with these
Oh.
people?
Didn't it
Is that
say
some
like,
shit we would say?
it's got their name and like the fact that they're from the Bite Squad, and then there's like random information at the bottom, and it said dick trauma.
That's where James was traveling around, or Tony was traveling around,
Oh yeah.
and then that vampire is following him, and you're like, wait a second.
Oh, Reynolds.
Was it Reynolds that was following him?
Yeah, I think because Michael J. Epstein plays Reynolds, and there's also the vampire that follows him into the cave is Michael J. Epstein. But he doesn't look like Reynolds there, so I'm confused as to if he's supposed to be a different vampire or.
I thought it was supposed to be a different one.
I think so, maybe. But he plays like 3 or 4 different characters in there. But this is when James whips into submission a giant bat. That's supposed to be that bat, right? That's the head of the vampires in Mexico.
And I just remember there was a girl who was interviewing for the Bite Squad, and that she said that she grew up in a jungle and that she was always getting bit by giraffes.
Oh yeah.
You're like, what the hell? And then on top of that, it showed her getting bit by giraffes.
Oh yeah, you see like this clip of a small girl running away from giraffes as they attempt to bite her.
That was the funniest shit I have seen in such a long time, man.
Yeah.
It's like, I grew up in a jungle and I was always being bit by giraffes. You're like, wait a second. And then it's like, you don't believe me? Here's a video. And then it's her running around trying not to get bit by a giraffe as a little kid.
Which that was the same one, or the same group of testimonials that had the girl that would join the Bite Squad because she didn't want to go to college. That seems to be all she mentioned was, would you rather be in the Bite Squad or would you rather go to college?
Yeah, no.
I'd rather go to college.
Depending on what college, I guess.
Yeah.
And then that's when you really start feeling for Reynolds, because nobody appreciates him. And everybody's just like, fuck you, Reynolds. You know?
Yeah.
And then there was a shit ton of cameos.
Oh, yeah.
Coming up.
We get the Honky Tonk Man.
I think we got Marvick.
Do we get Marvick?
I swear Marvick was in this movie. Hell yeah.
Maybe. I didn't. I normally my Drew Marvick radar is always on, but I didn't notice that one.
I swear he was.
We get Arn Anderson from the Four Horsemen because Tony does that whole bit with him where he asks him what you have to do. He's like, you have to hit him 4 times, and he keeps doing the 4 because this is the Four Horsemen symbol.
That makes sense.
He was the enforcer in the Four Horsemen.
All right, that makes sense now, because I was always like, what? Who is this guy? You know?
Father Blood. That's Arn Anderson.
Then there was that long ass montage of everybody that was signed up for the Bite Squad and what they can do. Like, everybody's going into like the goddamn woods and everything. You're just like, are you guys already in the group, or is this like your trying to sign up video? Like, hi, my name is Brian with a B. I'd like to join World Rules Road Rule Challenge because look what I can do, and start moving. You know, like, it's like these people. They're just like, hi, I'd like to join the Bite Squad because of this, and they're just like, all right, let's go kill a couple people. They're just like, hey, you can't do that yet. Like, I can't be like, hey, I'd like to join the FBI because watch this. And I was like, boom, 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 kick open people's doors. Get down. It's a motherfucking FBI. Be like, no, Brian, what you just did is called breaking and entering, and you're going to go to jail for it.
Yeah.
Like,
well, maybe this is like an initiation. Like you go, you beat up or you kill a couple vampires, you get into the Bite Squad.
But, you know,
maybe,
you know. Then I have a note. The soundtrack is amazing.
Oh yeah, no, there's some awesome songs, especially when Tony goes to whip into submission that giant vampire bat. Like, that music was really cool.
It is. It gets you really turned, ready to do something.
I don't know if you caught that reference, but when he says he's going to ride the bat, he gets on the bat. They play music that sounds a lot like the Neverending Story.
Mm-hmm. That's why I
And
think
when
that's
he-
why I was like, dude, this is a great soundtrack. And he's just going around, and that's why I was like, the graphics on there were super cool,
Oh,
but
yeah.
yes, Never Ending Story, clearly a tribute to that movie.
It was
You know?
really. I love. This is the thing is, there are times to be subtle and there are times to be obvious. This was the time to be obvious, and it just seems like
Back to
James gets that.
that he tamed a wild giant vampire bat and been like,
That
all
is
right,
now like his
let's
ride.
do this. Exactly. But let's see. And then Reynolds died, right?
Well, yeah, his death is actually one of my favorites. That's towards the end.
It was pretty sad. I mean, because I just remember that Tony pisses on Reynolds, right?
Yeah, Tony pisses on Reynolds. Well, not Reynolds at that point. I think he was RoboCop.
What? Man. Poor Reynolds.
Yeah, because he gets turned into like a nipple pinching, clamp handed buzzsaw penis guy.
Oh. Yep. And then deuces.
Yeah, but that's further along.
And we're rolling up on it after he had the
No.
great.
We didn't even talk about Krampus.
Oh yeah, that was one of the monsters he was killing.
Yeah, he kills Krampus in Germany.
And Krampus looked so messed up, dude.
Yeah, he did.
Like,
It looked so silly.
yeah, Krampus.
He looks creepy, but like the voice that guy makes, he's like, like he just, it's like you could do a serious German accent, but then you can do the accent if somebody's trying to do an accent, and that's what this guy goes for, and it works.
I couldn't do that. I
But
couldn't do it, dude. Like, yes, that's good.
But he, that's good.
Right.
I don't know how to do
Meineke.
that.
Right?
Oh, the Meineke guy, yeah.
Yeah. Volkswagen. That's all I got.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, how come, what's that, the Slammin' Salmon, the restaurant? And he's like, no, boss, it's called like charcuterie. He's like, how could it sound like when I say that? And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah. And he said the word. He's like, you see? And he's like, okay. And he's like, it doesn't sound like that when I say it. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, what? No. Yeah.
But so when he fights Krampus, he what is it? Krampus wants him to take a poop on his chest.
A hot
Krampus is a
Carl.
weird dude. Strange guy.
I mean, if you were just made to, if your brother was Santa, wouldn't you be in a bad mood too?
Well, yeah, because or Santercleese gets all the credit and you get all the blame.
Yeah.
Because you're kidnapping little boys and eating them.
Yeah. Don't be a hater, and then you won't get murdered.
Yeah. But so like that, even that fight, that was a fun fight because like he's fighting with some like thatched wicker stick, and Tony is fighting with like a broken off plunger, and they're sword fighting with this plunger.
Hopefully it wasn't used.
It probably was.
Dun, dun, dun. You think they have toilets in hell? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if it would quite be hell if you have toilets.
For me, what if there's like the only toilet we have is public toilets? I'd be like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe it's if hell is like what heaven is like in that. What is that Robin Williams movie? What Dreams May Come, where heaven is like what you make it, or basically like what you feel is like your best possible afterlife, then if hell is like that, it's like your worst possible, like everything you hate.
Yeah.
You just have somebody following you around saying moist, moist.
You just have that one patient that won't shut up. You're like, you see, it looks right here on your chart that you stubbed your toe. Well, I looked on WebMD and I actually have syphilis. What? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, I was about to say,
right
that
here.
sounds like every day at work for me.
Yeah. Like, I was walking, I stubbed my toe. I'm pretty sure that I just had a stroke. No, you didn't. You stubbed your toe. Okay, well, let's just double check it. I think I need my rotator cuff surgically removed. Like, you can't remove your rotator cuff. It's like, well, it's what's that surgery that like it's not needed, but you chose to do it?
Elective.
Yeah, it's an elective surgery. Like when I got my lungs extended. Like, what?
It's insanity. I don't get it.
Yeah. But
So we talked about Mexico, Germany. Oh, we talked about Mimula, right?
yep, making those funny sounds.
Which that was really funny. So then there's that big final battle where Reynolds is leading the group of vampires, which they kind of like allude to the fact that these vampires are not very good at being vampires, because he makes that mention right before the fight happens where he's like, those vampires in the 1700s were much more reliable and much better, which I kind of feel the same way about the Bite Squad people. Like,
Yeah.
it's just a bunch of people that probably shouldn't be vampire hunters.
Yeah, because a bunch of them were getting killed right when they went off into the forest.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to, like it's horrible, and I never mind. I'm not even going to say it. But yeah, like there's a pretty Doom. I think it was Doom or Aliens. There's a funny ass thing where like you stand at the end of the hallway and you just shoot down, and there's just a random alien that like walks across, and so you hit him. You're just like, what if that was that alien's first day on the job? Like he just graduated alien school, and he just got a wife and kid, and he's leaving. He's like, all right, babe, I'll see you in 8 hours. And then he walks across the hallway and gets hit in the head with a ninja star. Like that's the exact same thing that happened with fucking these Bite Squad people.
I know.
Like, all right, it's my first day. My mom spent all this extra money to buy me a college t-shirt and a college hat. And now I'm going to go out into the woods and I'm dead. Fucking Blair Witch got me. You know?
Yeah.
Those poor bastards. And then
go ahead.
The final move, right?
Oh,
was
yeah.
the Stone Cold Stunner.
Oh, wait. Yeah. No, did we forget? Oh, yeah. Because he pees on Reynolds, and Reynolds like almost dies. He kind of dies. And then Reynolds comes back as RoboCop, and then he does the stoner stunner.
The stoner stunner.
And
not
spat
the
bat.
Cold.
Like his little sidekick throws him the 2 beers, and he cracks them together like Stone Cold and drinks them.
Dude, that'd be a way, like, can you imagine getting beat up like that?
I mean, I've seen the videos where like there's been a lot of people that have taken the stunner, but like some people take it well and others not so much.
I saw when I was younger these 2 kids that were doing it to each other, and one of them like must have grabbed too low on the other kid's head and like Stone Cold stunned their neck, and the kid's like,
God.
I was like grabbing them. If you were a little kid and you were Stone Cold stunnered by your brother and you fucked your neck up, please reach out and let me know it was you. Tell me what city and state you were in, and then we'll put you on the show.
Which
like, that was me. What if they talk? It's like, that was me. I have the same.
Hello, my name is Errol.
My brother had too much sunny delight that morning,
and he was on a sugar rush.
He makes Sunny Delight and Nesquik chocolate. Mm.
But no, like the other one I saw that was interesting is like Randy Orton does the RKO, where like people, the one where it's like a stunner, but they jump into the stunner. And there's been some of those that like I forget who it was, but like there was one at a WrestleMania where somebody jumped off the top rope, and then Randy Orton turned real quick, like in maybe half a second, and just got into position. And it was Kofi Kingston, that's who it was, and he like grabs his head, and they boom go down for the RKO, and he was basically like they were going to work the moment and try to get it right on the crash pads where you can't hurt yourself. But then Randy Orton was looking at the ring, looking where he had to stand. He's like, I got it. We don't need to practice.
Dude, I don't know how they do.
I know.
How padded are those things?
Well, no, like the actual ring?
Yeah.
The actual ring is a wooden, it's wood.
There's no fucking way it's wood. It has to have some kind of
like a 1/4-inch pad, because you want to hear the thud when they hit the ring.
Like wrestling pad or something,
It's like a 1/4-inch wrestling pad. It's very thin.
But like wrestling pad isn't like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like soft, like,
yeah,
it's like 2 inches thick, but it's like compressed cotton. So if you stand on the balls of your heels, you might indent it. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is that even like if I were to give you a Stone Cold Stunner on my couch, like if I took all my couch cushions off and put it on the ground, and I was like, hi-ya, I would hurt my tailbone just as much as you would hurt your fucking face.
No, what they say is like guys that do top rope moves, the person they're jumping onto takes the impact more than them. Like that person becomes their cushion.
Yeah.
And but as far as ring stuff, what was it in TNA? They had a 6-sided ring, and the 6-sided ring required more of these long slats. So everybody complained because everybody's getting injured because there's so much wood in that ring to put it together.
I know that the very, very, very first day of judo, they are like, you're learning how to get thrown, and they throw you and you're just like, hey, guess what? I've never fucking been elevated hip tossed. I've never been fucking, rain swept or whatever the fuck they're called, And they're just like, well, you gotta learn someday. And you're just like, or you can teach me to defend stuff. There's like, nope. The first day in judo, doesn't matter what fucking day, you are learning to be grabbed by your head and thrown on the ground in the triangle. You're being thrown on your back and you're doing, So like all those wrestlers, if you watch them, they disperse that energy when they hit the mat, and a lot of that is, like, I won't say a lot of it, but, there is some judo background in that. What the fuck?
Well, yeah, because
my dogs have the zoomies and they're chasing after each other with my gigantic dog, usually our little dog. I say little, but our pit like somehow grabs the dog or the toy from the big one. And like, when dogs hit the zoomies, like their ass lowers to the ground. They're just like,
yeah.
Fucking, I see them run around my backyard with their ass lowered to the ground, like, and trying to run. What the fuck? Goddamn dogs, man. They're hilarious.
But no, yeah, like I know they've talked about that a lot of those hits they take, if you spread your arms and your legs, when you hit, you're displacing the impact.
Yeah. Here's another survival tip.
Yeah.
I don't try this at home, kids. This is the only time I'm ever going to tell you don't try this at home, kids. But you should try it if you're ever in this sticky situation. You don't have anything to lose. There's been people that jump out of airplanes and their parachutes don't open. And they say, like, get in that starfish position. Right. Because when you hit the ground, it's going to disperse through your entire body rather than being like, I'm going to get in a fetal position and hopefully that doesn't. Nope, you're going to fuck your shit up. Yeah. You get into that flat starfish position, then you have a slightly less than 0 chance of surviving. Like maybe a 0.1 instead of a 0% chance of surviving. You know?
Yeah.
But I think that was
okay.
it, right?
Well, and then we have the final fight with Robot Dracula, where what was it? Tony is told before to kill the Batwing heart. And
oh yeah.
so he draws the Batwing heart out of Robot Dracula, it, like flies up, and he shoots it with, or no, he hits it with the torch cross stake, whatever it's called.
This is a horse crux.
Yeah, the horse crux.
Yeah. And then he saves the motherfucking day. Now he can go back to thinking about shower beers and chicks.
But like, I think he told us there's like 100 cameos or something like that, and it really does kind of like live up to that.
Yeah, there were a ton of cool, famous people in there.
Oh yeah,
you know,
it's very entertaining. Like, I won't say that this is like the most solid story structure, but I don't think that's what it aims to be either, and it works for that reason.
Indeed. Well, after you told me the kind of movie it was, you know, it completely changes your point of view on it, you know?
Well, yeah, and especially because you get Sophia Cacciola and Michael J. Epstein, because they're really good at that mockumentary style.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those talking head things, like, they can get really stale really quick. But the way they kind of draw stuff out of people, it's funny.
Is that funny? That's our sign. That's our sign to wrap it up.
TikTok goes the clock.
Boom.
Yeah. Well, let's close this out. All right.
We rip our hats and glass off. Like, it's been us the whole time.
But
we watched that movie.
Check this. Or you can get the Blu Ray or DVD for this movie at DieStarPictures.com. This is one of 500 offerings that James Balsamo has.
Boom.
That's an impressive number.
That.
Yeah.
That's a 1/4 ton of movies.
I know. It's impressive.
Math, bitches. I should ask my son. If I said, son, what's a 1/4 ton of movies? You think you know it?
Maybe.
Oh, he just fucking yelled it. 500. Should I say, son, we're live. Don't freaking be on the podcast, bruh. Hurry up and come here. Let's see this. You have 3 seconds to tell the world who you are besides this kid pissing right here. All right. Thank you.
But yeah. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Hova.
Everything gets berated. No one is underrated. From the screen to the stage, we set the new cage.